I'm going to be talking about a liposomal vitamin C product from Seeking Health and just straight up quercetin from Pure Encapsulations. And one thing I don't have because I tossed it out, and it was kind of an afterthought, but I think it helped, was also a Seeking Health product, and it was a probiotic called Probiotic Histamine X. So, background. I have done a fair bit of work working with people who have hypermobility, hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, POTS, and MCAS, mast cell activation syndrome. And in conjunction with some colleagues like Tracy Rodriguez. And what we find is that when symptoms get out of hand, it's getting out of hand because of mast cells that are a little too activated. So, and what mast cells do, M-A-S-T, mast cells are part of your immune system. They're really part of your innate immune system, the one that doesn't learn like antibodies, T cells and B cells. And mast cells, what they do is when they're activated and they degranulate, they dump out chemical mediators like histamine, leukotrienes, and a lot of other chemicals. And generally what they will do in terms of the immune response is they will cause vasodilation, increase a blood flow to an area, like if you get cut, and recruit lots of other immune cells, bring out lots of inflammation, right? So that is handy. Histamine, we're talking about histamine here. Histamine has so that plays an important role. Histamine is involved in making stomach acid. It also acts as an excitatory neurotransmitter in your brain. So I don't want to diss histamine. It has a role to play. But you want some histamine, but you don't want too much. It's about your bucket of histamine. Now, we find that too much histamine in the symptom of people who are prone to it can, histamine actually can also cause degranulation of mast cells. So you get this knock-on effect of it. And these mast cells and too much histamine can exacerbate the symptoms of people with hypermobility because some of these chemical mediators will actually break down connective tissue that's already not doing very well, causing more ligament laxity. It can cause POTS outbreaks, POTS symptoms. It can cause GERD. It causes a lot of itchiness and hives, ringing in the ears, chronic stuffy nose. Anyways, lots of awful symptoms. And when visceral hypersensitivity to pain, like mast cells plus endometriosis means lots and lots of pain. So anyways, well, a lot of times when people have this, what they'll do, and nothing wrong with this, is they'll take antihistamines. But what antihistamines do is they don't stop the histamine, they don't stop the mast cell from dumping these chemicals into your system. What they do is they block the histamine receptors at this action site. So there's still histamine around doing various things, but it's not, doing that. So you can stop some of the stuffy nose and some of the symptoms, but not everything. Anyways, back to me. I don't have this disorder, but some of us are more prone to this kind of thing than others. We have too much histamine, and some people will just develop this histamine intolerance and too much histamine, lots of stress, a lot of gut issues. Women who kind of go into that post-menopause will often get kind of histamine intolerance. You get a lot of these symptoms. So some mast cells that are doing a little more than you need them to do sometimes can cause you some problems. And what we find is by stabilizing those mast cells, by stabilizing, I mean keeping them from dumping all this histamine and other things out into the system. If you can just stabilize them, calm them the F down, then you can prevent a lot of these symptoms and minimize the other medications you need to take. So again, like I said, back to me. I don't have this, but I notice that I do have some of the symptoms. I can get a little hypermobility. I've got some of that in my background. And I am prone to seasonal allergies. And I've noticed that even though my allergies are way better than they used to be, I don't have that many symptoms, that during my peak allergy season, every year, I develop kind of a mini outbreak of psoriasis on my hands and sometimes on my neck. And then my sacroiliac joint destabilizes and I'm almost always in a lot of pain during that time. And the more I learned about this with my patients, the more I realized, oh, you know what? I'm always telling my patients that when their allergy season is about to come up, tighten up their diet, take better care of themselves, and stabilize their mast cells by using liposomal vitamin C and quercetin. And that's really helpful because then they prevent all that from coming up. So I did an experiment this year, one person, one season, and I started taking the vitamin C and quercetin and that probiotic because that helps my gut, which is part of the whole process. I started doing that a month before my peak allergy season. And guess what? Very few allergy symptoms, but that wasn't as noticeable. But I got no psoriasis, not a single patch of psoriasis on my hands or my neck. And my sacroiliac joint has been happy and stable and not causing me pain. Now, I thought that was interesting. This was very simple. And I do take some other supplements now and then. But what I did is because I was taking those three things every day, I just dropped my other supplements for a while because this seemed the most important. And I don't like to take a lot of pills. But most people would take a dose, like they would take 2 to 3 doses, maybe on an empty stomach, 3 times divided throughout the day. I just couldn't bring myself to do that. So all I took was 500 milligrams of quercetin, 1 capsule, and about 500 milligrams to 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C, 1 dose, empty stomach in the morning. I thought I would ramp up and do a double dose. I might have done that twice or 3 times, but I never remember to take supplements in the second half of the day. So that's all it took. And apparently it stabilized things enough. And there are a lot of people in my own house and in my community saying the allergies were bad this season. They were not bad for me. So a little prevention, a little stabilizing mast cells before, and I started this right around Mother's Day, maybe a little before Mother's Day, before allergy season started. So I got in front of it, stabilized things, and kept them stable until until about 4th of July, because I always note that my allergies are easing off by 4th of July. So that was that. Very successful. I'm going to repeat that every year.